is the word I'm looking for. So my wife Courtney and I, we got 4 kiddos, all right? And we recently, our youngest is 10 months old, right? So if you were to rewind, oh thank you, you like families here, I like you, yeah. But if you were to rewind back about a year and some change, year and 4 or 5 months, that was when we were finding out that we're pregnant, all right? And so we had heard from some other parents that, announcing to your 3 other potential siblings here that they're going to be getting less time with their mom and dad isn't always something that goes over smoothly, right? So we get the kids together and we go, hey kids, so, mommy and dad are so excited because there's a baby in mommy's belly, and we are just so excited. And the kids were like, oh, this is the best news ever. Mom and dad were so happy for you. I mean, the kids were amped, and they kept going. They're like, yes, I can't wait to be, big brothers again. This was so cool. But we just don't need any more boys in our family. And so here's the deal. They were 8, 6, and 3 at the time, and they're all boys. All right, so we don't have any little girls yet. All right, and so I said to Courtney, I was like, well, that's a little bit of a problem now, isn't it? So I was like, well, I'll go talk to him later. All right. So a couple days later, I'm driving with my oldest. I was like, man, how you feeling about being a big brother? And he's like, Dad, I can't wait to be a big brother again. We just, we don't need another brother though, because mommy doesn't have anyone. I mean, mommy needs someone, right? And I was like, wow, all of a sudden, very thoughtful of your mother. This is fantastic, all right? But I was like, well, surely you'd be okay with another brother? And they're like, not really, no. And so I go to the 6-year-old, and I'm like, hey man, how you feeling about this? And he's like, good, Dad. But you see, here's the problem. Mom needs a sister. I mean, Mom needs a girl, so she can have someone to hang out with on like roller coasters and things. And I'm like, what? So then I go to the 3-year-old, I'm like, man, this kid can barely speak English at this point. Surely I can convince him that, any gender here goes is for him, he'll be happy. And I start talking to him, and he's like, Dad, yeah, I'll be a big brother for the first time. And he looks up at me with like these puppy dog eyes. He's like, I just want a sister. And so at that point, I'm kind of like, I mean, you guys understand how this works, right? Mom and Dad don't. And I'm like, no, they don't. They're way too young. They don't understand how this works. And so I did something that was very wise, all right? And I was wondering to myself, what are the odds? If you have 3 of the same gender, what are the odds that you could potentially have something different? In our case, have a little girl. And so I Googled it. And I get onto Google, hey, what are the odds? Do the whole thing. And it literally comes up at like 8% chance that you have something. And I was like, you know what, Google, you're full of lies. I never liked you anyway, And so sure enough, we eventually find out the gender, and we're big into celebrations in our household. We go and do is it blue in the middle or is it pink in the middle of the cake, all right? And so we go get the cake, and look, the kids are like amped out of their minds at this point. I mean, literally, if there was ever a need for a fidget spinner, it was like my 8-year-old. He's like, Dad, when can we cut the cake? I want to cut the cake, And so sure enough, we give him the knife, maybe not a good idea, but gave him the knife, and he cuts into the cake. And look, I'm not a big fan of pink, but I was at that moment. It was pink. Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you all. Thank you. And her name is Evie Joy, little sweet little buttercup. She was so cute, and loved being her dad. But one thing I did find that was interesting, I had all these friends thinking like, look, the Small Bones, they only have boys. So when we had a girl, they were just blown away. They're like, this is amazing. God really is real. This is great. We had some people come and ask us, just like, so, like, Evie was like 3 weeks old at this point. It's like, isn't it just so different having a girl? I mean, just so different than the other boys. And I was like, at 3 weeks? No, not a whole lot different yet, no. I mean, we have to put a bow on her head for people to know that she's a girl at this point, but love being a husband, love being a dad is a joy. But I do think it's fair to say it's been a little bumpy over the last year and a half. Like, for us parents, we became homeschool parents, and we didn't want to be in some cases, and then work-wise, it's been a little bumpy. Then it just comes down to the actual sickness of COVID. I mean, it's been a difficult year and a half. Is that fair to say? And my personal bump actually took place about 5 months ago. Actually, I had to have